Progressive Christian Twitter hates us. I mean, absolutely hates us. And yeah, as far as would they want us to be censored or something? I don't know, but
Yeah,
definitely they don't want us around.
yeah. It's kind of, I mean, it's a little bit scary in its own right to think of that. I mean, for people to feel threatened by articles online is, I mean, maybe a judgment in its own right on how some people, view their faith.
Yeah,
But it's kind of scary that whole side of things exists. But
yeah,
um, it's yeah. So do you get broad? Would you say you get support from the majority of Christians though? Would you say, or do you find
yeah,
that
for
there's
sure, for sure.
yeah.
The people that absolutely hate us is a very small vocal online minority. I spoke at a few conferences, and I talked to people that are like progressive uh, what do you call it? Episcopalian
Mm-hmm.
ministers and Unitarian Universalists, and that absolutely love the Babylon Bee. I
Mm-hmm.
talked to a lot of progressive Christians that absolutely love the Babylon Bee, and because they understand what we're trying to do is take a lot of the anxiety and angst out of modern events and
Mm-hmm.
the news, and really the best articles that we write really take the wind out of both sides. That's the
Yeah.
goal, is to help. I don't know. It's easy to log on the internet and get so caught up in the news of the day that you forget about eternal things and things that are actually important. So
Mm-hmm.
satire can really cut away a lot of that trash and let you
Yeah.
see, oh, hey, this thing that everybody's freaking out about, they're going to forget about tomorrow.
Yeah, it
And
makes it look super ridiculous, and that's, I guess, the point
yeah,
because it is
exactly,
ridiculous.
exactly.
Um, what are the arguments that you hear from people that are kind of haters of your work?
The most I created a bingo card that has all the people who hate the Babylon Bee bingo.
Yeah,
The most common critique I think is satire is supposed to punch up, not down,
right.
right? So they'll say you cannot make fun of LGBTQ issues. You cannot make fun of Democrats because they're standing for LGBTQ issues. So the whole thing gets
Mm,
very absurd because now you're writing rules for comedy that you can't make fun of this group because they're a protected
mm-hmm.
class of people. Well, how privileged is that to say this group you're not allowed to make fun of?
Mm-hmm.
And and
Yeah,
especially when it's a group that controls Hollywood, and controls
exactly.
our cultural conversations. So anytime somebody says, oh, you cannot make fun of that group, that's a prime target to make fun of. Now, to be clear, we never want to make fun of the struggles of people who struggle with gender dysphoria. We never want to make,
Yeah.
because there are some serious issues there. We try to make fun of the ideology to
Mm-hmm.
point out the absurdity, and I think that's never off the table.
No, you can't take things off the table because as soon as you start doing that, then I mean, once that starts, comedy then will inevitably die because when it gets to, I guess, state sanctioned or mob sanctioned, this is funny, this is not funny, then I mean, the whole point of comedy is that it has that edge to it where it's meant to just bite a little bit enough. I guess the point of Babylon B isn't to bite in a way that's hurting people, but it's obviously to bite in a little bit where people are then starting to self critique and then laugh in turn about what their mannerisms and the mannerisms of others. And um yeah, it's a worrying thought to again to think that people would then say that things are off the table. There's obviously common decency and respect, but when it gets to the point of then trying to take the humor out of it effectively, then what's the point? You know?
Yeah, yeah. And if you read the Babylon Bee, it's very funny that people say that about us because we do have a line, right? A lot of
Mm-hmm.
comedians don't have a line, and they'll go in hard after something. You're like, wow, yeah, there are certain targets that we go harder after. We think abortion is one of the greatest atrocities in the last 100 years. In all of human history, and so for us, that's something that yeah, we're going to go in a little harder after that than we are a preacher that we're just making fun of some of his idiosyncrasies. So yeah, it is funny that
Mm-hmm.
people think that we're like too brutal, or I don't know. We definitely try to keep it gentle when we can.
Yeah, I mean, one of them really hit home to me actually, where I thought, well, this sort of shows some of the actual profoundness of satirical articles. But the one where was it New York legalized abortion up to almost full term,
Mhm.
and it said Satan was seen, or the demons of hell seen applauding from the balcony, and
Yeah.
it's funny. But then when you think about it, then is that not in some ways the truth? And it's quite profound in ways.
Exactly. I don't remember who said it. Someone wrote that satire was writing. I'm gonna mess it up, but basically writing things that aren't true to write what is true. And
Mm. Yeah.
and that's exactly you hold up a mirror, you hold up a distorted funhouse mirror to the culture. And
Mm.
I think it can be very powerful when it's done right.
Yeah. So when you're talking about the line, have you got like a line in your policies, or does everyone kind of just buy into where they believe that line to be? If you were to describe that yourself, where would you say
Yeah.
what's out of bounds and what's good?
Yeah. I think comedy comedy suffers if you start with a line.
Mm.
I think the line is best drawn after the fact, from an editorial perspective, right? So you let
Mm.
you let writers go crazy, and then you go, "Yep, we can't publish that joke," you know.
Yeah.
And but as a general rule, from an editorial perspective, like we will never make fun of the concept of God. We'll never make fun of the holiness of God, or
Mm.
the Bible as God's revealed truth to man, right? We'll make fun of some elements of the Bible, but it's generally like how we as a modern culture perceive the Bible, or we'll
Mm-hmm.
take modern trappings of American cultural Christianity and juxtapose it with the Bible to prove a point. But we're not gonna like do a joke that that God is dumb. And if you
Yeah.
look at the Onion, one of their founding principles was uh, religion is stupid. You can go read interviews with their founders, and it was let's make religion look stupid. Was I think one of their five like founding
Mm.
principles. And it's like, and if you read a lot of their articles about God, it's like, oh, the whole concept of God is stupid. And I mean, even I as a Christian can laugh at some of those articles.
Yeah.
But personally, I'm not going to participate in writing that kind of humor because that's not the point that I'm trying to make.